So, what is your number one, ladies?
My number one, I've already rewatched 3 times all the way through an entirety. And I was like, oh, this didn't just come out, but it totally did in February. Love to Hate You is my favorite. I think no, I don't know why I watched it in October randomly, like all the way through. And then I randomly watched it again. And I was like, did this just come out? I just realized that this just came out. And why if I watched it 3 times? What it was, I watched the thing all the way through and then I restarted it and watched it all the way through again. I'm a fan of Kim Jo Hong. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I'm a big fan of his. And so I follow him on Instagram. And so if he's like, oh, I'm putting out him and his long hair,
That
if
he
I'm,
cut.
huh?
That he cut. That he cut.
It's grown back now.
It's going back.
Uh,
Is
yeah,
it's not quite as it's not all the way back though, is it?
it
When he,
is. He just,
I was like, no.
oh, you should see the comments from that. I sent it to Dr. Shi recently, but yeah, his hair is
It's
back.
definitely grown back. It's
It's
grown
more
back.
wavy. It's back to pretty much my length. But
Okay.
he did have it short for a little while.
Yeah.
But I love watching his stuff. But this drama was an adult drama. It was fun, and even as I watched it 3 times in a row, some of the dialogue just resonates so strong when she's sitting there like, what is going on with these men? I don't understand. I'm just trying to find someone I can trust. And she's like talking about it and how she feels about the situation. And it just resonated so strongly. But then also like her interaction with the lawyer who she worked with, who she used to date, who they both treated on each other. And she was like, this is cool. He was like, we're going to discuss your life. And she was like, no, we're going to remain professional, like, and so there's just so much in that drama that speaks to me like on a daily basis that when I watch it, I get like, oh my gosh, yes. Oh, yes. Not that I don't think it's like a man hateration drama by any means, but I think it's more like I think as a young child, I really love justice, and I felt like it was a well balance of this is the problems, but not everyone is like this, and it can be a little different. There are people out here who are striving for something good. Um, so I don't know. I love this drama. All right, I'm done.
My
Yeah,
my daughter really liked that drama too, Janae. So
I also really liked it. It was definitely like one of my top dramas of the year. So, who's your number one, Kat?
so my number one today, like I said, it can kind of go back and forth with my dearest is Good Bad Mother. I just thought I just
Oh,
thought it was so good all the way around. I mean, it had a great ensemble cast. I mean, you just look at the whole cast. It was a great ensemble cast. Lee Do-hyun it gave him the opportunity again, completely believable in both of the periods where he was at as that, you know, growing up as the student and, falling in love and, but watching that, then after the accident and having him, be in the wheelchair and be back to 7 years old. I mean, not once did he break character, not once. And I thought it was really interesting to see the parental dynamic, with her. The whole reason it's called, in Korean, it's just called Bad Mother, Napun Oma.
really?
Yeah, so it's only called Napun Oma in Hangul. But I thought that, it was interesting watching her raise and then her getting a second chance to kind of try to correct some of the mistakes she had made the first time. I mean, as a parent, yeah, wouldn't that be nice if you could go through and maybe change some things? I thought you one of the things that Korea has better than anybody are child actors. And those two kids in there. Oh my gosh. They're
So
just
adorable.
like off the chart adorable and so cute. And so I thought it had a good balance of, there was humor, there was sadness, there was tragedy, there was mystery, all those different things. So, and I felt that, I mean, I don't know how you make it through the end scene with, when they're all singing and, and at her kind of like her memorial service and they're singing the, Hanboke song, it was just like, it was so touching. It's like, need to have a box of tissues next to you with it. I thought it finished it very, very well. It was very sad. It was a satisfying finish. From start to finish, I don't really have any complaints with that at all. The only other thing that I could remember seeing him in, Lee Do-hyun, was The Glory, which, I wasn't really a fan of. I know the world is, but I was like, okay, what else has this guy done? So yeah, I was glad to see him and be able to see the range that he has, and that it was, totally believable. So yeah, it was out earlier in the year. I hope it wasn't out too early that people forgot about it, and it gets the recognition that it deserves.
Wow. So that show had me in my feelings so much. I was like, I'm glad that in Korean it was just the bad mother. Because I was like, how is she good? She's a horrible person. She's a horrible mother watching the whole thing. So like hearing that in Korean, it was aptly titled, almost makes me like it more. Cause like I remember watching, it's like she's like ableist, she's like, mean, and she all around she's the bad mother song. So I feel like I gave her too much of an out, But that transitions me to my top drama of the year, which is The Glory, which you just mentioned, Kat. I love that drama for so many reasons. I was like, I never realized how much I like a revenge story until I started watching K-dramas. I was like, oh, we gotta have another revenge story? And like, I'm not a vengeful person, I don't think. But it was like, oh, if anybody deserves to be vengeful, it's that woman. And like, I feel like it's one of those shows that made me actually do research. Where I was like, let me look at some Google Scholar articles about bullying in South Korea. What are they doing with the children? How are they approaching it? I was just so taken by the story, that I like wanted to learn more about Korean society. And I'm always excited by shows that make me want to learn more about a topic, whether it's like going down a deep rabbit hole or just, doing a little little Google Scholar searching of like, how are they handling that? This is a big problem there. And like, and I so much so that I did a podcast on The Glory, like at the beginning of the year when the second part came out with Lenora, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, they don't even call it bullying, they call it school violence, And I was like, I feel like it really illuminated a lot of things for me about South Korean society, and maybe I want to learn more. So I'm a fan of that. And Song Hye Kyo is my girl. I was like, she was acting her pants off. I've not seen her act that well in a long time. So I was like, look at her showing emotions. Like she's like, great. And like I was really excited about that. And yeah, so and the mean girls were so mean. They were so mean. Oh, and they played really good mean girls. So yeah. I think the last thing I'll say is that I really appreciated like there's also I love a class commentary, these rich people who just don't face any consequences whatsoever for just being, horrible people. So that happens too often in the world, I'm like, it's nice to see rich people who are terrible people get their comeuppance,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, ladies. Well, lovely chatting with all of you.
Okay.
Annyeong.
Bye-bye. Thank you for coming to Dr. Chi's salon today. If you want to know more about Jennay, just so that you know, we are organizing a K-drama meetup here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, which will have like a K-drama game night. So for those of you guys who are in the DMV, please stay tuned for that information. You can follow us on Meetup. And if you want to know more about Kat Turner, she's got a great webpage called katturner.com where she blogs about her experiences as a Korean American adoptee from South Korea, her trips back to her homeland, as well as the way that K-dramas have influenced her life as an adoptee. So thank you for listening, and I hope to invite you back to Dr. Chi's salon very soon.